Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come share the love of yarn crafts and all that gives us and what we hope it gives you. We are on episode 110 today, 110. And we are here to share with you some of the things we have finally, like with my mom, finally accomplished, gotten done. Feels good.
Yep.
Starting to get to this last stretch.
Yes. It's not done yet, but it's getting there.
And I have some very fun projects to share with you this week.
Some very fun ones.
So we hope that you are ready. We are really getting into we're feeling fall.
Yeah.
We're really feeling the fall hit, and it's just...
It got cold all of a sudden, too. So, yeah, that's why we're both wearing hoodies today. It's cold out. So, I have gotten... I'm getting it. The squares are together.
Yes. Here, I'll move out of your way.
And they are... So they are just so vibrant and nice. And I have one layer of the border around it, which I'm using. I've got the yarn here. I'm using this, it's two yarns that are just wound together, but they keep changing colors. So I've got like reds and greens and teals and I'm not sure what the teal was with, but they just keep changing colors all the way around. And that's what I put all of these the blocks together with. In between each one of these is that twisted yarn. And I'm going to go until there's no more of that left. And then I made a big magic ball with all of the rest of these variegateds. And I'm going to keep going around until I've got that ball all the way done. And, or just about done. If it works out that it doesn't use it all, I'll stop. But it's going to be a bright, colorful bouquet of just color. And it's the border is going to be so nice. I'm doing that in single crochet. And it's the corners, I've got a little safety pin in there because each one of these corners I'm doing 3 stitches in, 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. And then in that middle one, in the second one, I am putting the pin in there so I know when I get there that I put 3 stitches in that area, and I'll put the pin in that second one each time. And so yeah, I'm just making sure of all of my spacing, right? You know, the corners and everything. And I'm just having fun with the color changes. I'm trying to figure out where I am here. I just started going around on my second round. So at the beginning it was reds and golds, and now it's teals and purples. And so it's just, you know, it's just changing as it goes along, and I love that. I've got my little stitch marker there, and I'm just having fun with it. Now I do have my strings from when I put all these together, but I'll weave all those in at the end. I don't mind weaving. I just sit there watching TV with my husband and weaving in ends, and it doesn't take long at all when you're just doing that. You know, if someone was waiting on you, or if your husband was, you know, trying to walk out the door and waiting for you to get in the car and stuff like that, that would be a different story. But if you're just sitting there watching TV and you've got to have something working in your hands like I do, weaving in ends is no big deal.
Right.
So I kind of enjoy it for that fact. You know, it gives me something to do, and I'm still getting stuff done, and he still has me right there next to him. So that all works out.
What's your next project? What are you going to be doing after this?
I thought I'd be working on another blanket, but I'm kind of burnt out. I'm not really sure what I want to work on next, except Sarah's been talking to me about maybe starting some amigurumi. And so, sorry, have to give her some scissors.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of thinking that smaller projects over the winter might not be a bad deal. I know I usually do blankets over the winter to keep me warm.
And it's not that you can't always go back to that.
And it's not that I can't. And if I decide I want to, that's just what I'm going to do.
It's completely up to your liberty.
But I'm thinking, Sarah had showed me some pine cones that you can crochet. And I'm thinking about making like a banner with them.
A wreath?
Not a wreath. Something I can hang off my mantle going across.
Oh, garland?
Yeah, a garland. That's the word. With the pine cones, because not only can you use them for fall, you can use them for the Christmas season too.
Well, depending on what color you make them, they can look like they have snow on them already.
Yeah. So really, because I use pine cones for my Christmas season too, for decorating with. So
Well, pine cones were always so special.
yeah. So I'm just really thinking that maybe I'll make some pine cones for the next project, but I'm not sure, and I'm just trying to get this done first, and then we'll figure all that out. And really, that I can bring along anywhere. I can have a smaller bag. I wouldn't have to have such a big bag when I'm going out doing stuff. I mean, my friend had asked me to make some scrubbies for her. We went out to Joann's. We found the scrubby yarn, and I made one of them when I was sitting here. But then my husband was playing music on Sunday evening, and I went to watch him and our son play music with a bunch of other people. It was a jam session. And I brought that little project bag with just the scrubby yarn and my hook, and made another scrubby while I was sitting there. And people were kind of looking at me funny.
No shame.
But I just thought, you know what? I've got something to do while I'm listening to the music, and it gave me pleasure to do that. Plus, I was getting something done, and I've got another one done now. And I'm going to just make scrubbies until I run out of that yarn, and then I'm going to give them to my friend. And so that's my thing. When I was doing that, I thought, geez,
So
I got another one done.
Yeah, it's convenient.
It was fast, it was easy, and it only uses a small bag.
Yep,
So
and
maybe I'm
super-
thinking, maybe I would like to make something that's more easily done.
Yeah.
You know,
it's very satisfying sometimes to have projects. I'm sorry, I'm not
It
trying
really
to speak
is.
away from the camera. I am sewing something right now. It's nice to have projects that sometimes are instantly gratifying.
yes.
It doesn't always take so long to get to the finished product.
Right, and you don't have such a big bag when you're carrying, or if you want to go somewhere and everything, sometimes the blankets are just too bulky and too cumbersome to bring along with you. Oh, that's so cute. Wait till you see what she's making, folks. It's A1. But I'm just really thinking smaller projects for the foreseeable future, and getting more of them done. If Sarah and I decide we're going to do craft shows, I just could have things made, or maybe start making the amigurumi and figuring out if I like it or not. And if I do, maybe those projects will be the next things that I'm doing.
And it's so much fun.
Well,
'Cause
and
it's
I've got a
adaptable.
natural teacher right here to teach me how to do it. She's already knowing how to read the patterns and everything. And I can read some patterns. I just sometimes don't understand what the people are trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to make sure that I'm doing things right. And Sarah would be able to tell me if I'm doing it right or I'm doing it wrong, or there's an easier way to do it,
Yeah.
or whatever. She knows all the little ins and outs of things now that she's been doing it for a while. So it's just easier to have someone that already knows what they're doing as your guide. And she's taught me all along anyway. She's the one who knew how to do the crochet first. And I appreciate all the teaching.
Well, it's
So.
fun.
So I'm not going to ask what you're working on. I'm looking at it. But I can't wait for you guys to see what she's doing. It is awesome. And I love it, and I can't wait to put it up on my mantle.
Okay, so first off, after last week's episode and making that little keychain for you,
Yes.
I know that I didn't bring any of them, or I might have.
What?
It's okay. I made a whole bunch of circles, small ones, the same size as that, but in white, and I wanted to do black outline, so like kind of like a white piece of paper, and I get a black pen and just kind of draw on it.
Yeah.
The idea was that I was going to make a whole bunch of white circles where I just figured out different types of faces that I knew that I could make with black yarn.
Okay.
As kind of like and
Yeah.
kind of practice and see how I can play with it a little bit better, where it's less just, it feels less stressful.
Right.
And the aspect of like if I'm using colored yarn, it feels much more needing to be intentional, like I know what I'm doing. Whereas with black and white yarn, there's always seems to be a slight more abundance.
Right.
I can have that. I can work on it, and it's okay.
Everybody has black and white.
And so it's one of those things where it's like I made the white base kind of like a blank piece of paper and using the black thread as a means to try to experiment and see how because black is going to be very obvious on the white. I can see how it's going to play with the yarn, how making faces will look a certain way, and I was kind of executing some of that, and I made a lot of little white circles to start figuring out whether I could make things like little face keychains, emojis, but I didn't get very far, meaning that I got a lot of circles done. But when I went to try to make my first face, Kanya saw me doing it, and I was kind of getting a little frustrated because I had already had to at least rip out one time. And Kanya was like, I want it. And so I ended up making him a little doodad. Like, I literally just made a face, and I made little arms and little legs and a little patch of green hair and just sewed it up and just gave it to him, and it was just like a little doodad, and I don't know where it is. But then, so I didn't bring that, but I'm hoping to possibly have a little bit more done with that sort of a thing by the time I get back next week, but I don't know. But then on Facebook, I saw this creator that just was showing off the fact that they made a amigurumi s'more, where you make the graham cracker pieces, you make the chocolate, slice, and you get the marshmallow, and the marshmallow has all the stuffing in it, so when you put them all together, you can still squish it. It has a face and everything, it's all cute. And she just made a very simple, like for someone who knows how to crochet and has the on-hand experience of just knowing basic shapes and just kind of knowing what it was. She wasn't indicating a pattern, she was just like, make the graham cracker. And you just see a sped up version of her going at the graham cracker and then it being done. make another one. Same kind of thing where it's just very cut and dry. The video might have only been more than like a minute and a half maybe. So she does that, and with the graham crackers, she suggested having cardboard so like make 2 little squares of what would be kind of like a soft clay brown
graham crackery.
yeah, sand color taupe. Make 2 same size square, sew them up and make a little piece of cardboard, put it inside before you sew it up so that holds shape. Do it again for the bottom half, then just make a similar version for the what's supposed to be the chocolate bar, and you don't have to put a cardboard piece in that, kind of let it be so that there's a little bit of a difference in size and texture. And then you make the little ball or cylinder in some way where it's a flat circle, then you're building up on it, and then you bring it back in, having put the safety eyes and things in. She blushed her little marshmallow. I might be able to see if I can get that video shared to my mom and see if she might be able to put the link in the description so that you're able to kind of see my inspiration from this creator. It didn't seem like there was any given tutorial. It was just kind of like for those who are just easily inspired and able to just consume and then kind of like
just
3D print out your own version of that, which is what I did.
Yeah.
I took inspiration from this creator, but I didn't follow a pattern outside of just her generalized make these pieces and then put them together and it will come out this way. And so I did that for the family that's staying with us, their daughter. She likes these sort of toys, and so I made her one. I don't know whether I'm gonna need to make my kids one now, or her mom or my mom at this point, because everyone loves this thing. But it is the s'more, and yes, it does squish.
That's what I love about it.
It squishes.
And what did James say?
Oh, my husband's suggestion was that if I just had the chocolate on the top, I could have made like melting indications on top with the marshmallow, making it look like maybe it had hair or something from the melting of the
chocolate.
The chocolate. But yeah, it's squishy.
Oh yeah, good job.
And it's just so much fun. The thing that I end up putting in here for the graham cracker piece was to kind of make it a little bit stiffer was actually plastic canvas that I just cut to size and slid inside. And I know that that's not going to be perfect like cardboard, but I figured that if I'm giving it to a kid, at least plastic canvas could go through the wash if it needed to.
Yeah, it's gonna last longer.
It's gonna last a little bit longer, and it still kind of creates a thicker texture. That creator had used like hot glue to put all these pieces together. I just used a single thread of the graham cracker color, and I started at the top and I kind of made it kind of on its, found the middle for everything and stuffed it inside, got all the way back to up here. You can see the little indent. I kind of crossed the stitch and tried to be as close to that all the way back up. And then I tied it, not too tight, but not tight enough where like, it's tight enough where you can't see the string if you kind of try to separate them, but tight enough where when I tied it and was able to slide the excess strings inside the pocket, it kind of made them all still a bit independent of each other. Because I kind of wanted it to be, I didn't know how to make it where without using the glue, the hot glue, keeping them all in the one spot. But again, I didn't want it to be something where if it was thrown in the wash or something, it would lose its ability to stay together. So I figured that if this got taken apart in any capacity, I could still put it back together.
Right.
So, and it kind of makes it fun that they kind of spin and
if it's going to be a toy, you got to have some kind of funness to it.
And the other creator had kind of put a little bit of blush on the white of the marshmallow to kind of give it some rosy cheeks, but from what I could assume was blush. But yeah, this was my variation on that,
I
shared creation, just inspiration video.
My inspiration would be, if you're toasting the marshmallow, have it be a little bit browner.
I was thinking about making it
not blush pink, but more of a brownish color.
But if I'm doing that and I'm doing the brown, like if I make it much more of like a brown or or if I make it like a really really crispy marshmallow where it's black, I could make it look like it has like different haircut styles where it has where it's balding.
Yeah.
Or just different hairstyles. I don't know. Or you could find different blushes or different sort of creative powders that could just kind of accent the already created white marshmallow to give it a little bit of aging, kind of like powder paint or something. I don't know. But yeah,
instead of you making me one of these, maybe you can teach me how to make these, and then maybe that'll be something that I'm learning how to do.
I can make your first origami could be a s'more.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do that.
Okay.
After I get done with the blanket.
Squishy.
It is. Squishy. And I like that the face is still there when you do that. It's the face is still there.
Maybe we need to make Klondike bars too.
Oh no, we have got ideas.
So when it's puffed back up, it's a big marshmallow, and then you can squish it.
I just love it.
So that was something that the kid that I gave it to, I asked very nicely this morning, could I please share that with, I gave it to her last week after I made it, and I was like, could I possibly borrow it so I could share it in the video? And she was very nice and said that was absolutely fine. So this will go back to you. Will go back to your owner today. And then my mom, she I think it was Sunday, sent me a video that was from, what is this creator's name?
Elise Rose. She used to be a La Petite Saint Crochet. So, and she's got one out right now about all these other creators who have done all these fall things. And she wants to try some of these things. And this is where the idea came from.
So, my mom shared that video with me, and it's pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern after pattern, being very, very just obviously appreciated by this content creator who is just like, this gives me so much inspiration, these are so cute, these just make me so happy. And she's obviously also sharing all these other creators that have cultivated these patterns and are sharing them, and
she wants to look into some of them more.
Yeah, but it's all fall themed, and so some of them were like pumpkins or acorns or just all in that nature.
A hat. There was one really cute hat that she had with all the leaves on it.
Oh.
Yep.
That
was the very first thing she showed.
Oh, okay. I can't remember every single thing.
No,
I remember
can't
there
either.
being
There was a lot.
Pumpkin, some shawls. It was just really things that felt fall to her is what she did. Well, when she was showing off some of the pumpkin ideas, I was kind of like, it's been a while since I've done something where I feel like it was holiday or seasonally themed. Probably last thing I did that was a seasonally or holiday themed item was the Santa pillow that I made last year. The Santa countdown pillow. But where I'm at right now is I just went on Pinterest and I just started looking at patterns of fall crocheted patterns, and pumpkins came up. And I can't remember if I looked up a pumpkin. I might have just looked up pumpkin. I can't remember. But then my mom was with me when I did this search on Pinterest, and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna make you a pumpkin. And that was like 2 days ago.
Yep.
And my mom was like, oh, okay. And I found a free pattern on Pinterest that, sends you to its site page. And I did my best to replicate that pattern. That pattern had it was not always easy to follow. And I can't tell if it was because it was like translated from a prior, its original possible language, or what it was. But I wasn't able to replicate every single thing. So the pumpkin's body and the pumpkin stem, I was able to kind of figure out what they were trying to say, even though it wasn't perfect on there could have been some choices on how to do a little bit better explanation, and or just making sure that you got your typos right or taken care of. On the vine, the dried out vine kind of corkscrew, they wanted you to chain to a certain size and then just single crochet back, use a ratio of water and a very specific type of crafting glue to kind of make a, I don't want to say it's a hodgepodge, but it's enough water that it will dry out and last, and kind of dilute the glue enough that it will become part of the material, because once you dunk that strand into the material, you can then kind of, it will absorb into the material, and before it dries on the whatever material you are putting into that 1:1 ratio, however you let it air dry, that shape will kind of hold its shape better.
Right.
And they wanted you to make the vine that way. Now, I just used the method of making kind of like the, it's almost like a screw, like corkscrew, or,
Yeah.
Which is literally you chain, and then on your first row, you just increase in almost every single stitch. And it will eventually cause the end of the strand to start to spiral, curl on itself. And I just did that in a simple pattern. I just crocheted till I thought it would be long enough, and then when I increased twice, single crochets all the way back to the beginning of the stitch, and it made the perfect little...
It did. I love it.
Now, the reason why I chose this free pumpkin pattern, because there were so many. There was a lot of different things that showed up on that Pinterest link. When you just looked up fall/pumpkin patterns, there was a lot of stuff. The reason why I was drawn to this one was the style of the crocheted leaf, which felt like it was had a really interesting texture to it. This was the part of the pattern where I had to just let it go, because I couldn't follow it. It was using abbreviations that were not, in the abbreviation chart, they were not present, so I did not know what they were referring to. And and some of it felt like it was written in a different language, like it wasn't fully translated. And no matter how long I looked at the just looked at the item and tried to see if I could just figure it out for myself in translation with what each row said, I couldn't. Now, did I kind of make my own variation of what that was supposed to look like? I did. I mocked it up. I kind of made my own, and it turned out fine.
I like it.
If you take closer inspection, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it gives the same feel as what the inspiration photo is supposed to be. And I want to get that up real quick so that you know. And it is right. I will find you. But yeah, so I am pulling this up right now, and the inspiration is right. This is what they show. And like I said, they're a corkscrew kind of vine, is going to be a little bit different, but their version of the pumpkin turned out with that really, really textured, only crocheting in the back of the single crochet stitch, ribbed effect, but they did it where it was supposed to be made from one side, and depending on where your increases and decreases are and whether they wanted you actually to work onto the side of the pattern and then come back out and then rib yourself into the almost mirror opposite of the leaf to come back.
Seems a little hard.
It's not when you know what you're doing, but to actually have been able to read the pattern so that you knew you weren't making the mistake and just being able to just kind of get it done would have been so much easier. And it's just, I thought the leaf, see like this, you can see how they're doing it. I would have loved to make a perfect, what they were making. I couldn't use their pattern. So like I said, I kind of made my own variation. So the pumpkin and the stem itself came from that pattern. The corkscrew, the little vine, and the leaf are mine. Inspirations from the original work, I just could not, I didn't want to do the vine the same way they did, but with the leaf I could not follow the pattern.
And she's going to give me the information so I can put it in the description.
I want you guys that might want to enjoy this pattern or just look at it yourself. This pattern is still fun. I think that this little pumpkin still turned out fantastic, and this is the reason I wanted to do this pattern, because I thought this was still fantastic.
I asked her to do it in the tweed. It's very beautiful to me.
I did the tweed, and then when I chose the colors for the leaf and the stem and the stem and the vine, I chose from colors that were already speckled in the tweed. So because there was kind of already a blackish, darkish, grayish color, I utilized the black for the stem. And because I already had versions of like that brown, kind of coppery, what would you call it?
The copper color.
I thought that this color would accent and complement it well. Like I said, my leaf is not the same as theirs, but I still feel like it kind of gives off the same vibes, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do it this way. Another difference in how I did it, when I pulled the pumpkin tight, when you learn how to do the design, you're pretty much making this bowl that comes around on itself and makes a full round back to being at a point. You stuff it, and they don't want you to make it too tight, but they want it to be able to hold form. Then you use string and you go into the beginning point and the end point, and you're cycling the yarn through 8 times, and you're spacing the string out, and then eventually you pull it tight.
Okay. And
it makes kind of the pumpkin shape.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that I found that this pattern, I don't know if it had, the end of the pattern I didn't end up reading, which was the assembly, because I just innately did it on my own.
Right.
But I kind of found that it was hard to get to the centers because both of them were so divoted inside that I ended up taking the bottom and kind of picking up kind of corner pieces, like a little bit of the pieces of the poofs, and I kind of pulled them tight to kind of get the top pushed up a little bit, making the bottom a little bit flatter and having a little bit more access to the top, so that when I put the stem on and stuff, it'd be a little bit easier to get to.
Right.
That was my adjustment to the pattern. I don't really know if that was its intention, but I still think it was, for a free pattern that I think was just possibly not translated well. If I had figured out what to do with the leaf section, it still worked if you just kind of improvised figuring out what they were trying to say.
Right.
And some of it, I might just not always know all the different types of versions of variations on abbreviations from country to country. like maybe some of them were just a European version of I'm so used to reading American, but
Right.
some of the symbols of the alphabet of these patterns did not seem from the English alphabet, so I was having a hard time with it.
Right.
But either way, I'll make sure that link is down in the description. And the only other thing I want to say, I'm very proud to say that when I was watching a vlogger, again, kind of in the same light as from the same kind of string of short videos as I got the inspiration for this little guy, I found a content creator that taught how to make decreases that are less noticeable for amigurumi. Now, I'm trying to decide whether I want to make maybe like an amigurumi tips and tricks video, or even like just show some tips and tricks when we're doing a teaching you while you're learning, because I would need to kind of create a sampler piece to be able to show it off, and I don't want to waste anybody's time because I realize I had not set that up because I was sewing the leaf on. But I'd like to share that with you because it works so well. The top was my decrease section, and I really cannot see any of my decreases because it was just so seamless. The simple choice to make the decreases done in a completely different way makes it so it almost is like non-existent, and it makes this seem like there's no visual disruption to what the outcome is, and it's just so cute, and now you can have it.
Thank you.
So I feel like we've just made some very kind of fall cozy patterns,
all the vibes.
So I don't know, maybe we'll see where we get with maybe some amigurumis and maybe some more decorative. You know, you wanting to make the pine cones. I'm kind of feeling like I'm in a fall kick or seasonal kick. Maybe I can start making some more, because I thought these were so cute. I thought that maybe making a table runner in similar patterns and then making things like this that could be like decorations for the centerpiece of a table runner. Kind of like seasonal table runners, whether they be seasonal by spring and fall or summer or winter, or you can make them holiday where it's kind of much more towards like Thanksgiving or like Christmas or the like. I thought that because I was like, maybe if I have any left over the tweed and the black and the copper, I can make like a table runner with that and then have that be like a centerpiece.
Right.
But obviously I knew that you had intentions for it, but I don't know. I feel like that could be like a little set where you can kind of like a themed centerpiece, as like a thing.
That might be a thing for the craft shows too.
Yeah, so
something to put together.
I don't know.
Other people aren't.
Well, it's not that other people don't have the same ideas, but it just, everyone has their own spin on the ideas. So.
True.
Okay.
We're going to do a quick verse, and then we're going to hit the road because this video is getting a little long. So the verse today is, an honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. And that's found in Proverbs 24, verse 26 in the New Living Translation. An honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. To me, this is saying stuff, someone, behind you sees that your tag is up on your shirt and they're not saying nothing.
Or, the poppy seed that's stuck in your teeth and no one's going to say nothing.
But, if that's something that you are embarrassed to tell somebody else, I can tell you from experience, I have put people's tags down for them and they always thank me. They don't want to look like that they're not put together or whatever.
And that's not the full extent of what this means. Obviously, honest answer is like a kiss. What
I'm saying is, to be a friend, you need to be honest. And when you're honest, you are being a friend. I would rather have a friend tell me the truth, so I can adjust my thinking if I need to, than to sit there and let me walk away thinking I'm right and I'm not. I would rather be told the harsh truth if it need to be said, than to sit there and just go on thinking that I'm just doing hunky-dory and doing it right. I mean, even for a doctor's office or whatever, I always tell them, just tell me the truth. Let's get on with this. Let's figure out how I need to proceed from here. And it's usually not my own situation. It was my son's situation when he was younger. I needed to tell the doctor that, I just need to know so I can know what to do for him. But an honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. It's just something that everybody needs in their life, is someone to be honest with them, to be truthful with them, and to say it in a nice way so that they're benefiting from it without being hurt by it. And that's how I feel about that.
I know that kissing, and especially the time period that these proverbs would be written in, were not always thought of, like, marriages at the time were not really based off of romance. And so the sort of intimacy that you're thinking when you're thinking of a kiss in these times is completely different.
Right.
If you think about it, it's like to honor a king, like kissing it. And I'm not saying it's a form of submission as much as like you're shown, like, not saying kissing your feet or something like that where it's like that, but the relationship of what even this culture knew as, from what my understanding is like that kiss of friendship is like, that's a form of intimacy, of course, but it's a form of respect. It's a form of I'm willing to be I want to care for you. I want to build you up, and that requires a trust. And
kind of like the French still do. They kiss each other on the cheeks when they meet each other.
It's a greeting.
It's a greeting, but it's still a form of a friendship thing.
Yeah,
or a respect.
It's just, when you think of people in this time period, their understanding of greetings and signs of respect and signs of friendship and signs of what a kiss means in that social norm of what the kiss means. When I read this verse, an honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. It's a trademark.
Right.
You don't just go up and kiss anybody.
Right.
You do it to the people that you're the closest with. So if you're going to share that what is kind of like an intimate space or show of endearment, even if it's not romantic, just in general, and this context, it's just like, it's kind of like a calling card or trademark of the friendship. It proves that they truly care, that they truly want to, like, they're truly in your corner. They are here for you, and they want to. It just feels very. It just feels like they're in that close relation. They respect you. They want to. They aren't going to just. It's not something that you see anybody do with anybody.
Right.
Like I said, it's kind of like a trademark of the friendship. You know that you know this person.
It's an integrity thing.
Yeah, so I don't know. An honest answer is like a kiss of friendship. Proverbs 24:26 NLT is the version. So
I'll put that in the description too for you guys.
So yeah, I just read this. My mom showed this to me. So this is just kind of what came. What felt like this might be likened to. Sometimes with these proverbs, I really want to know, like, what is this scribe, or if it's not a scribe, the person that did the proverbs, what does that mean? No, he wasn't the only one that did them.
Right, but a lot of them were.
I don't know who all did them, but I do know that it's like, what did that mean to them? Was it something that was sociable, like understood, or was it something that was resonating with them?
Right.
It's kind of like a inside.
Yeah, a thing between friends.
Yeah, so we are so grateful that to anyone who's made it to the end, and we are hoping that maybe we shared some inspiration for you getting into the swing of things this fall.
Yeah.
We're in September, going on to October.
This is the time to make all the things.
And so it's going to be so much fun. And we hope that you guys are having good success with your projects.
Yeah.
And are you doing anything for like a seasonal thing? Like, are you making seasonal projects in any way?
Yeah, let us know.
Are you switching anything up like with my mom where she's kind of going in a different direction? Are you trying any new things out? Let us know in the comments. Yeah. We'd love to hear from you.
And give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to. We love having more friends.
Yes. And, if there's anything that we have shared that you think might be something that a friend would like, go ahead and share our video.
Yeah.
We've been really just enjoying seeing how the channel's been growing, and just feeling like we're seeing so many more creators that are crafters themselves, especially with even just their names, this person that crochets or known for their crafting, and the title is just like, it feels good. It feels cozy. Like, we're in our element. We're with people that really value what we get.
When we began this channel, that's what we were hoping for in the first place.
So, as always, we hope to see you next time. And until then, we hope that you stitch your way
to mental health.